You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Mornings, dragging yourself out of bed after another terrible night's sleep, isn't it the worst? Mattress Warehouse makes it easy to find the perfect mattress. With our large warehouse assortment and low warehouse prices, we have a mattress for every body and every budget. Plus, 0% interest financing, a 100% comfort guarantee, and a 1-year price match guarantee. So where would you look to find the perfect mattress? In a little mattress store or Mattress Warehouse?
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Lebitard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Everyone knows there is only one real championship in sports worth winning this week. It can be won tonight in Sunrise when the Panthers finish off, possibly, if it's not jinxing it to say it, the Edmonton Oilers. I just came in here and Greg and Stugotz were having the discussion of what Greg Cote would write if indeed Connor McDavid and the Oilers come back to win 4 straight games. And the conversation they were having was about Greg Cote writing the column after it's all over, after the Panthers have lost a heartbreaking Game 7, writing the column, I was indeed wrong, but at the time, I was right.
Put that on a billboard.
It doesn't quite have the same ring.
Look at radiant Charlotte Wilder. Look at her. She is holding up champagne. All illusions of objectivity have been discarded. She joins us from Boston, where it is. I'm assuming there hasn't been much sleep. What has the evening been like for you surrounded by all that racism?
Okay. All right. I was so excited. I was ready to come in here and be like, don't let him get one. And then you did that, Dan. Thanks a lot. Awesome. Love it. No, listen. I highly recommend that everybody have the experience of their team winning a championship. This is amazing. This is fun, guys. Like, more people should do this. Why don't more people do this? This is a phenomenal experience. 10 out of 10. No notes.
How much have you slapped? How many of the highlights have you been watching? How teary-eyed did you get watching Jason Tatum hold up his child?
Okay, well, I'm going to tear up again. Did I cry? Maybe in the press box. That's fine, right? Look, a little thumbs up. I was out with the team all night. We were partying. Just got back to my parents' house. I'm in their basement in Massachusetts. No, just kidding. They wouldn't even let me in the locker room, but I did try. Look, this feels like I am such a sicko, guys. This is the point that I'm at. I was I was watching them win, and I was like, before they won, sorry. Pritchard hits that buzzer beater, which, by the way, can I just say I called it? They came in, he was in with 4 minutes. With 4 seconds to go at the end of the third, and I saw him stretching. He was sort of stretching by the free throw line. And I was like, Pritchard is there. Like, he's going to do it. He's going to hit that buzzer beater. He gets the ball from Al Horford off that rebound, sinks it from freaking Siberia. And I was like, oh my God, is this the next dynasty? Is this the next Warriors? Like, that is what a sicko I am right now, guys.
That was an I told you so about a shot that you knew he was going to make in a game. That was your analysis from
Mike Breen did say he loves taking these shots. They put him in just to take these shots. I mean, he's hit a few.
He practices. Right. He practices these shots, and Missoula puts him in. He's like, Pritchard doesn't care if he messes up his 3-point percentage. He wants to take those shots, so we let him. And he did it in the finals, Dan. That's pretty cool.
Mike just muttered in my ear, heartbroken, Missoula's a champion. It's such a funny thing to think about. He was drafted. He was in the draft class of Kyrie Irving. He is a young person who should have been fired after Game 4 last season in the first round.
Now he's a Hall of Famer.
Now he's a champion, and you two are both talking dynasty. Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Is Missoula going to replace Red Auerbach as the greatest coach in Celtics history?
All I'm saying, Dan, is that Joe Mazzulla, he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. He said winning can be just as dangerous as losing, but he kept his team even keeled. Bunch of superstars. They all bought in. It was a team win. Don't put that up. Put me up.
No,
look how good I look right now. Look how good I look.
This is what's happening in here right now. Since last year, we have had this banner of Bill Simmons looking sad at last year's Game 7 Celtics Heat. And after the Heat lost to the Nuggets, we were going to hang that as our banner in here from last season, but we never got around to it. And now that banner has been I don't know what it is. It's been drawn on. It has been desecrated with graffiti. His sadness has been turned into a smile now, and all of Boston is thrilled tonight. Did you actually get out into the city? I imagine that the cheapest ticket there last night was $1,700 to get into the building. I imagine it was a zoo there because I don't think Boston, never mind the Patriots, I don't think Boston cares about anything except basketball and baseball.
What?
That's
the Bruins.
No, but that's higher than
hockey's
the Bruins outrated them head in the first round.
I got caught up in the air there.
Okay.
They like their sports.
They do
this is their
like
first
their
title in
sports.
5.5 years.
But the way they care about the Celtics, I think, is more than the way they care about the Bruins and the Patriots. I got caught up in the air and realized that they care about the Red Sox that way too.
They care about the Patriots. They care about the Bruins. They care about the Celtics. Can we replace the Bill inbox there for the visual listeners with just another inbox of me? Because look how I found these ski goggles in my parents' freaking hat closet or whatever. Yeah, thank you. There. This is what I want. I want double the Charlotte, because these are Heat tears. This isn't champagne. These are Heat tears. Ooh. I told you I was going to drink them, Dan. No, look, I got outside after the stadium, after the game. It was 1:15 because I had gone to the press conferences like any good journalist does. And it was still a little scary. I had to walk 2 blocks to get a car. And I was like, I don't know if I should be out here by myself. Dan, people care so much. I think the fact that the Celtics took, in 2018, I remember Tatum and Brown, Eastern Conference Finals, and it sort of blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, is this possible? It's 2024, and they have lost Eastern Conference Finals many times. They have lost the finals. They lost the Eastern Conference Finals to the Heat. It took time for them to do this, and I think patience is expensive in sports. It's hard. It's sort of unbelievable that the front office stuck with this long enough for this to happen, and they did it as a team. And I think that it made it so much sweeter that I remembered being in that building in 2022 and being like, this feels awful. Losing at home it feels very, very bad. And then for them to win at home, it felt like it's euphoric.
Let me rephrase what it is that I was saying, because in getting tangling up, I think I failed. I want everyone to understand this city's relationship with this team when it comes to sports identity, regional identity, and the way Boston generally just cares about sports. That was built by baseball and basketball. And the way that basketball became what baseball was is they were winning so much that they sort of tried to take the city from baseball.
Yes.
And what ended up happening after that is the Patriots got in that discussion with the same kind of winning, but Boston doesn't care about the Patriots the way that it cares about the Celtics because it hasn't been handed down from grandfather to father to son, from grandmother to mother to daughter. It hasn't been handed down. The winning hasn't been handed down.
Charlotte would know best, but I think that's by generation. If you ask younger kids what's the big team in Boston, they would tell you the Patriots.
Agree, but my point is that's because that's the one that did the winning with just football.
Correct.
It's not.
Right.
It doesn't go back to when this all started. Where did Boston start caring about sports? When they had Bill Russell and Red Auerbach winning anything, and also, everything. Because Boston, Ted Williams wasn't winning.
No.
And also, Foxborough is a far-flung suburb. It's not in the city like those other teams are.
So, Charlotte, you can speak to this.
I think that Boston, I think now, like, the biggest team is the Patriots. I don't think there's any way around that. I think I think NFL has a much bigger hold on the country as a whole than any other sport. And I think that the Patriots, that dominance for 20 years, it was 20 years. Like, that's a generation, right? I don't know how long a generation is. But I think that, yes, the Celtics carry so much weight. And but they hadn't look, they won in 1986, they won in 2008, they won in 2024. That's in Boston terms, as obnoxious as it is to say this, that is long. 2008 to 2024 is like, well, we don't remember what this feels like for basketball, for everything else. Like, it's the most obnoxious thing in the world to be a Boston
Charlotte,
fan.
you're spoiled. It is now because of the last 20 years, Charlotte. Before that, they were losers except for the Celtics. Like, the Red Sox were a laughingstock. The Patriots were a laughingstock.
Yeah, I know. I was alive for it. But at the same time, like, when I was growing up in the 90s, like, they won in 86 and then they didn't win until 2008, the Celtics. Like, I think that that is the handed down generational love for this team. But I think every sport now, because it's been so dominant, I guess something that was exciting, Dan, last night was to see how much fans cared about the fact that this was not just a rote championship. This was not like, oh, cool, they did it again. Like, this felt, the Garden was so loud. It was, even in a blowout in the fourth quarter, everybody was just losing their mind. And I was proud because I was berating fans a couple weeks ago for leaving early, and they didn't leave early. So yes, I think the weight of this team has carried, and the history has carried a lot of that. But I think it's also just the heartbreak of the last, 7 years that has made that made this feel so good.
A generation is considered to be 20 to 30 years. Just so we're all clear, because I know we were all thinking it, right? I mean, I was, at least. I looked it up.
The
Generations.com.
The thing that I was thinking of was how absurd a love for something has to be for it to be the cheapest ticket in getting in is $1,700, which made that ticket last night the most expensive in the history of Boston sports.
Crazy.
Because of how that city wanted to win there, and because of whatever it is that Charlotte is talking about that's the last 5 years, combined with Mike Ryan being able to say for this entire century, you've won one. You're telling me you're the most historic franchise, and I, in my lifetime, have seen you win one time. And now they get to say that they've won twice. When you were crying in the press box, Charlotte, what was happening there? Like, what was it? Just watching the happiness, or was there something specific that triggered it?
By the way, that's going to be first of all, can we get me back in the double box? What happened? I really like that. That was fun. That was exciting for me. Can we get
more maximum me?
Thank you so much.
Maximum me. You have 20
this is about
seconds
me right now,
left.
Dan.
You
This is
have
about
20
me.
seconds. 15 now.
First of all, the name
14.
of my memoir is going to be "Crying in the Press Box," a Charlotte Wilder story. No, Dan, it was that, that's where I grew up in and around that city. It felt very, I think for me personally, just to be there. And this is my job, and there was sort of a full circle moment. And they lost so many times in the past 7 years, and then they won. And I was so happy for them, and they tried so hard, and they did it, and it was a historic season. One of the best, maybe the best team ever. I don't know. You can't say it was luck.
God.
You can't say it was luck.
Oddball every day but Monday on the Batard and Friends Network. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, the Dan Le Batard Show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Look, this year has gone by very quickly. Reaching the halfway point of the year is an excellent time to reflect on your mental health journey, assess your progress, make plans for the future. Ask yourself, what's something you're proud of so far in 2024? What's something you still want to accomplish this year? When life goes fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and adjust what currently doesn't work for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time, no additional charge. Reflecting on the first half of the year and planning for the next can help you stay proactive about your mental health. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
Dan Batard.
Yeah, enjoy a long and fruitful run, Dan.
What was that voice?
A Celtics fan.
That was a Celtics fan?
Well, it was me.
Stugotz.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see the mask pulled off and to see you so clearly. You were in such good disguise, and I didn't know it was you. But then
It's me, a Celtics fan.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
2-on-1 down the left side. Here's Ballard with a wrist shot. Shoots. He scores! We've landed on the moon. Dvorak takes a shot. Loose puck right out in front. Pelts it in. Puck's in the rebound. What's in the box? Frolik again. He's set up. Another shot. He scores! I feel like taking crazy pills. Weiss, he shoots. He scores! I'm never going to dance again. Ballard, quick strike, shoots, he scores! Ball! The meatloaf! McLean to the left side of Frolik. Top the face-off circle. Fires a try, shoots, he scores! Get off my lawn! McCabe's got a wide open net. Bingo! Empty net goal. Come with me if you want to live. Campbell throws it out in front, goes back to the point, long shot, they shoot, they score! There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammond. Booth, wrist shot, shoots, he scores! Wilson!
One of my favorites, Randy Moeller, hockey on the radio. That was a thing that we were doing 20 years ago. There was some sounds, Stugotz, that you were giggling about earlier because you almost went to go be the boss of Sal Licata in New York because he's an angry New York sports radio host. And I don't know if that anger is real or if it is contrived for the air, but the thing that he's angry about most recently involves Grimace, the McDonald's mascot, or I guess one of the McDonald's mascots. In fact, where does he rank in the history of McDonald's mascots? It's Ronald McDonald. Is the Hamburglar ahead of Grimace, or is Grimace ahead of the Hamburglar?
Well, there's a lot of controversy going on with the McDonald's mascots, if you will. We've discussed how Ronald McDonald hasn't really been shown other than like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for a while now. Now, Grimace might be on the outs in the rankings of McDonald's mascots because last year there was this big campaign to celebrate Grimace's birthday. I think it had been like 30 years, 20 years, something like that since they had celebrated Grimace's birthday. Now, what happened was they commemorated Grimace's birthday last year with a Grimace shake. Then the internet got to the Grimace shake and the TikTok got to the Grimace shake. And then what was happening was viral videos were going around of people celebrating Grimace's birthday, saying, "Happy birthday, Grimace," and consuming the Grimace shake, and then seemingly recreating crime scenes in which they had overdosed or been slaughtered by someone, and the Grimace shake was all around them, as you can see on the floor. So it was like horror movies were being done with the Grimace shake. So this year, after 3 months heads up last year, there was no celebration of Grimace's birthday. However, it seems as though the Mets invited Grimace right around Grimace's birthday to throw out the first pitch. Now, Grimace, not on Grimace's best behavior the day of the first pitch. Shenanigans behind home plate, trying to distract the pitchers. I believe the game was against the Marlins. Lo and behold, the Mets have won 6 straight games since Grimace has thrown out a first pitch. So many people are crediting Grimace and not the Mets having the highest payroll in baseball as to why the Mets are now all of a sudden hot.
You didn't answer his question.
He did not.
Odd detail, Grimace is wearing a lefty glove, even though he throws righty.
I mean, Billy's wheelhouse.
Well, not answering my question, which
Requiring
was
context as to what we're going to see in the
yeah,
clip.
but you didn't answer my question. You gave me the context.
We feel like
second, third.
Whatever.
Hamburglar?
I feel like the Hamburglar might, but that's from a different time. They don't even do the Hamburglar anymore.
Yes,
right?
they do. In fact, both Grimace and the Hamburglar were featured on Michael Jordan's racing teams over the weekend at Iowa.
And nobody's talking about Birdie, the other mascot.
Mm-hmm.
So Sal Licata is WFAN's angry voice here, and because Grimace is at the center of a winning streak, for some reason he has been enraged by Grimace.
The Mets finally are playing well. They go on a winning streak. They've won 5 in a row. Hottest team in baseball, 8 of 10, whatever it may be.
Yep.
And yet you've got some knuckleheads on social media and elsewhere giving, of all people, credit for this run, Grimace, that fat McDonald's mascot. That's who's going to get, the Grimace Mets. I even saw Zoo tweet about this. The Grimace Mets. And it's not just him. Everybody's doing the same. The Mets are 5-0 since Grimace threw out the first pitch. That's really what we're talking about? Like, the Mets are actually playing well. They've won 5 in a row, and it's because Grimace threw out the first pitch.
He's got good scout report. Scouts like him.
This is what I mean. Like, this is such like minor league stuff. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Can you imagine it being with the Yankees?
5-tool player.
Yeah, one thing about Grimace, I think he could have stole some bags on the Yankees last night.
Yeah, even him, right, off Trevino.
But come on, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
The Grimace Mets.
Yeah,
okay.
And that makes Sal Licata our
gas bag of the week.
You throw it out there, though, Dan. You take phone calls for 3 hours, 20 share. Boom. I mean, that's how you do it. It's a good job by Sal.
Sal's second time winning, right?
Yes.
First repeat winner?
Yeah. There's no way a person is that angry every single day. It's impossible. He woke up one day. He had no one to be angry at. There was no one to be angry at. The Mets were winning. The Yankees are good. All the other sports are done. So he went after Grimace. I mean,
Don LeGrecker, by the way, would be that person.
That's also a classic old-timey sports radio journalism type thing where you complain about everybody talking about this too much while you're talking about it.
Right. It's totally ridiculous to think that Grimace would lead the 6-game winning streak, but not ridiculous to think that our billboard would lead to a 4-game losing streak.
You got away from that, and you had to bring it back.
The more you talk about it, the more you're putting this thing on a pedestal. It's very dangerous.
I want to do the opposite. Can we stop saying the word jinx for the rest of the show?
Please.
Can we just take a moment and enjoy this moment? And I don't mean tonight's game. Like right now, the moment before the game, we have a chance tonight to clinch the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Again.
In our barn.
I don't want to savor this moment. I hate this moment.
Oh, wait a minute. Why can you say that?
What?
Why can you say that we can celebrate winning tonight? But
No, I'm
he
saying-
can't put up a
He
billboard
wants to enjoy
celebrating.
now.
No,
the
I'm
calm
not putting
before
up
the
a
storm.
billboard
Right.
saying we've won the championship. Mickey's
Right.
overrated. I'm saying this is a good feeling. I was driving in today, and I'm just like, holy shit. We have a chance to win the Stanley Cup tonight. That is just, I'm nervous.
Right.
Like, I'm going to get nervous as the game gets closer, but it's just really cool. Can that be a thing? No more jinxes. This is really fun. I'm looking forward. The group chat's on fire. Like, it is just a fun time to be alive now.
I'm not having any fun. Last night
Mike.
was terrible. I'm in a bad mood.
That was the only.
I just want this game to start already because it's been 72 hours.
Like right now.
I've had to sit with 8-1. I've listened to every podcast under the sun. I hate it. Just drop the puck. Just drop the puck.
Been on a plane for 72 hours. I feel bad.
Chris, the other day you went.
You might be going straight back.
You went to Sawgrass Sunrise in order to watch on video with what looked like thousands of very excited people.
Yeah, it was sold out.
And so for as much fun as we've been making of Miami proper, not being able to get that far north, this is Sunrise team, Plantations team, Fort Lauderdale's team. That entire region has absolutely embraced everything that's happening there. What was the level of deflate in seeing 5 goals scored in the first 16 shots on Bobrovsky, and how quickly did people flee the last time you had this feeling going to an arena being like, this is really cool?
Something about it not being actually there and it was like just on a screen made it a little less sad. Like if the game was there, I feel like I would have felt worse about it.
But everyone cleared out after the second period. Like I tried to beat traffic and I couldn't beat it because everyone left after 6-1.
I want you guys
gotta wait it out.
From my perspective, you have heard me pretty consistently over the course of this, just generally fearing hockey. Where's the hot goalie going to come from? What's the weirdness that's going to present itself that's going to break my heart? Because I know they have a good team, but Tampa's also good, and Boston's also good, and the New York Rangers are also good. Now, Mike Ryan said that he feared Dallas more. But what I'm telling you I fear the most isn't hockey. Just hockey happening in the playoffs and the randomness of it. It's hockey, and they've got the monster. Whether Cody wants to say he's overrated or not, the other team has the beast. Now, that didn't do anything for Luka last night going into Boston, because when you have the better team, you're supposed to win this game at home, even if the other team has the monster. But I'm scared of that dude.
And now he's playing well.
Well, but he always plays well. Like that. He never doesn't play well. He's never not the biggest, fastest guy on the ice.
Correct, yeah. He's always the biggest threat. It's pretty obvious to the eye. That's the biggest threat on the ice. You could be watching hockey for the first time in your adult life. You see that dude skate for 10 seconds, you realize he's different.
But it's the one thing, that for me spooks me on, I get the pleasure of having the hot goalie. And now I'm coming in off of 8-1. And the hot goalie was taken out after a shutout in the first game of this series, and they've got that guy. You understand how my fear gets ratcheted up as someone who cares about the Panthers, because I do respect and fear that guy, no matter what Greg Cote is making Roy ask all that NHL royalty in Edmonton.
But it was one game. I know Edmonton blew them out, but it's one game. They're still down 3-1.
But he's the best player. He's the best player on the ice in every game.
I understand that, but the Celtic fan base was also nervous because the Mavericks blew out Boston in Game 4. And then what did Boston do once it got home? They blew out the Mavericks.
And let's not make this just a one-man team. They still have Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman on that team, too.
They're top 5 defense, too. Like, it's not just scoring. That's a very good team.
An action-packed fight card is taken over Las Vegas for UFC 303. Alex Bejeda versus Yuri Prohaska 2 in the main event. And then we've got T-City, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez in the co-main event. Jump in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. And speaking of amazing, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet just $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN, D-A-N, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Get that big fight feel at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/MMA for eligibility, deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Don Le Batard.
What do I got here? I got a Magnum condom. We won't get that out.
That's shocking.
Stugotz.
Here's a picture of Christopher when he was like 3 years old.
Right next to the condom.
Yeah.
As a subtle reminder.
Never forget.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
The Messiah is in the Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I
The
feel
hell are we
terrible.
doing?
He was listening to us talking hockey,
Jesus.
and we should be listening to him talking hockey. Let me introduce him correctly. He's a 6-time Stanley Cup champion. You did it more efficiently than I'm going to do it. It can just be the Messiah, or it could be 6-time Stanley Cup champion, 5 with the Oilers, 1 with the Rangers, guaranteed the 1 with the Rangers, the 3rd leading point scorer in NHL history, and now he has made the 2,500-mile flight again from Edmonton to the real new capital of ice hockey all over the world, South Florida.
Somehow that guarantee didn't jinx the Rangers.
That's right. Somehow it did not.
Look at that hat, by the way. Look at that hat.
Elbo Room. The Elbo Room. Yes.
Tell us about the Elbo Room, Messiah.
Oh, it's a great place to chop up the series and talk to everybody about what's going on. See all the great fans.
That's not all they're chopping up.
That's where we do our homework.
That's what we're calling it, homework. Because I've been to the Elbo Room. That place is a special kind of fun dirty.
I love it. It's great to be down by the water. Great people. It's awesome.
Wanted to talk some hockey with you because we have among us, the last time we broke some news from the Elbo Room, Connor McDavid's dad was bought a drink, and a reporter gave him the drink, and Connor McDavid's dad said, "You're not that Greg Cote, are you?" Because we're with Greg Cote, who has said that Connor McDavid is overrated. And
I love
that is actually funny.
How right he is.
That's a headline. That's a headline grabber.
Thank you.
So how can you explain to him how absurd, how asinine his opinion is?
Well, that's a great thing about sports is everybody has an opinion, and we all get to share it. And it doesn't have to be right or wrong or indifferent. If that's what you feel, that's great. I think he may be underrated, but that's just an opinion as well. I don't know how anybody could call Connor McDavid overrated, but I respect it. I respect the opinion, but that's what makes sports so great is we can sit here and debate it all day and chop it up, and wherever we land, it's great.
Well, Mark, let me explain my opinion and see if I at least have a point here. I've never said McDavid isn't great. I mean, he's the best player in hockey overall, but I don't think he's a two-way. And PK Subban was saying that Barkov is a better all-around player.
You called him an underachiever.
A 200. Yeah, I did. And here's the reason. No.
He's laughing at you.
I think he's an underachiever because for all this greatness, 9 years into his career, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, and the odds are still long that he's not going to win one again. And I think you don't get to be the top echelon of the GOAT pen without a championship. You've won 6 of them. He hasn't won any yet for all his stats, for all his numbers. Not saying he's not great. I'm saying until he wins the Cup.
He's 27.
I understand, in his 9th year. Until he wins the Cup, he doesn't get to be the best ever. He doesn't get to be McJesus and the next Gretzky and everything else people say, in my opinion.
Well, I think he would agree with you. I don't think he's arguing the fact that through his career he'll want to win the Stanley Cup, or he'll need to win a Stanley Cup to be considered along the greats that you just talked about, Gretzky, Lemieux, Howe, or all the greatest luminaries of our game.
Messier.
The unfortunate part is of team sport is you can't do it alone. I wrote a book exactly that. You can't win. No one wins alone. So of course, the evolution of any hockey player goes through tough times. You have to learn how to win. You have to know how to play. You have to know how to play in tight situations. But it's all just a learning journey for every player, not only Connor McDavid. And sure, did he know everything when he came in the league? No. Has he gotten better as he's gone through his career? Of course he has. Has he learned how to lead better through these times when the team's down 3-0, the world's looking at him? And in my opinion, he's done an amazing job of the leadership. He hasn't pointed a finger. He hasn't complained about anything that's happened. He just gone out there and played hard every game, which is amazing. And then to put on top of it, when your team's looking at you, as a leader, they're looking for anything for any sign of resignation or we can't do it, but he hasn't given any of that. So when you talk about underrated, I mean, there's, sure, he hasn't won because he's 9 years, but there's a lot of players that have gone through their whole career and never won because they haven't been in a situation where the team is strong enough to support them. Good teams put special players in position to make great plays at the right time. And I can talk about that firsthand of all the great teams that I played on. Edmonton's got a team this year where they can compete. Now, whether they can win the Stanley Cup this year, I don't know. That remains to be seen. But ultimately, he needs the support, and then he needs to be able to figure his own game out on both ends of the rink, which every player has to. Wayne Gretzky had to. Mario Lemieux had to. Bobby Orr had to. All the greats. And he's going through that process right now. I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that he's myself personally, and this is just a debate. I personally wouldn't call him underrated at this point. I would call him. It's like every other great player. It's a learning curve.
You got a standing ovation at Rogers Place in Edmonton over the weekend. Where are you less likely to have to pay for a drink in public, Edmonton or New York?
Oh, New York, I think.
Well, I'll tell you, I played 12 years in my home city of Edmonton, which was amazing. I was born and raised there, played my minor hockey there, family, friends, and of course, when the Edmonton Oilers became part of the National Hockey League, I was drafted by Edmonton and spent 12 incredible years. I played with some of the best teams ever, some of the greatest players ever. We had Hall of Famers. But to be able to do that in my hometown was incredible. When I left New York and asked to be traded, or when I left Edmonton asked to be traded, the team was kind of breaking up and it was starting over again. So I told the GM at the time, Glenn Saylor, that perhaps maybe I'd like to go try it somewhere different. And he goes, well, where would you like to go? And I go, I think New York would be a really fun place to play. Living in New York City, the 51 years at the time when I went there, they hadn't won a Stanley Cup. So the challenge was too great to pass up. I don't look at it in terms of not buying a drink. I look at it in terms of the people I've met along the way. It's been an incredible, fortunate journey for me as a hockey player. And here we are years later, almost 30 years later since we won the Stanley Cup in New York. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, but which city, though?
Yeah, pick a city. Pick a city. It's just, you don't have to look at it about buying a drink, but where are you just simply less likely to have to buy a drink when you walk into any local establishment? Edmonton, where you won 5, or New York, where you won 1?
Or the Elbo Room.
Can it be? The Elbo Room, that's it.
No, don't let him out.
Way to go, Cody. Go sit in the penalty box, Cody.
I don't know. I don't know. I've been treated both. They're tied for first.
You can't say
all right,
both.
that is unacceptable.
Elbo Room was a better answer.
Now the questions are going to get harder. This is from Anderson Cooper's interview on 60 Minutes with a mob informant and the former owner of the Gentlemen's Club Scores, and I quote, "The New York Rangers came to Scores on the night they won the Stanley Cup, filled the Stanley Cup with champagne and shared it with everybody, and then they left the cup. They got drunk and they left the cup." Can you confirm or deny that story from a professional snitch?
I cannot confirm that story. I don't believe I was there, but if I was there, I would have confirmed it, but I'm not sure that happened. I don't think as drunk as everybody might have been, I don't think they would have left the Stanley Cup at Scores.
In 1987, you allegedly brought the Stanley Cup to a gentleman's club in Edmonton, then placed it on the stage where the cup was reportedly used as the prop by the talent. Can you confirm or deny that the Stanley Cup was damaged enough that night to necessitate repairs?
Again, I'm going to deny that. The cup did have a screw that holds the actual very top of it to the bottom part of it that had come loose, and so we took it to a place where they attached it back on.
Classic Messiah.
Can you tell us the most fun that you ever had in a single season? I don't know whether the last one ends up feeling better than the first one when it comes to championships.
Oh, that's I've never been asked that question before. The most fun of any year. Wow. I don't know. I had a great time that year in Edmonton in 80. I would say 84 and 94 probably the two of the best. The pick one. I'm going to say 94 only because I was 31 at the time. No, I was 31 or no, what was I? 32 or 3 at the time. We had a great season enjoying New York City and all its great things it has to offer.
How confusing is it to you as somebody who loves Edmonton, loves Canada? How confusing is it to Canada to have Florida dominate hockey for the last 5 years?
I'm not sure if it's in 5 years, but that you're right about Tampa, and they're included as well. That's a great part about our sport is that the expansion into the southern states and the amount of kids that are playing hockey and getting the opportunity to play hockey and have role models right in front of them. It's what the NHL wanted to do. It's what Gary Bettman's initiative was. It's to grow the game, diversify the game. We've done a great job of it. And we look at Austin Matthews being born and raised in Arizona, one of the greatest players in our game today. Just goes to show you how successful it's been coming into the southern states, like Florida and like California, like Anaheim, like Nashville. It's amazing. I don't think anybody looks at it as the geography, because we have great Canadians playing all over the world, and certainly back down here in Florida as well.
I want to come at this Connor McDavid conversation from a different angle.
All right, let's circle back on that. All right.
Yes, I have my top 5 Edmonton Oilers. I have my top 5 Oilers of all time, okay? Top 5 Oilers of all time. All right, that's what I have.
Okay, so you don't. So we'll find out right now. You're telling Mark Messier.
Yes.
Well, he's got to be on this, right? All right. Let's see where we're going to end up. Let's see where we got to end up here.
Maybe that's why we're having the conversations, because I'm not on it, which is okay.
I don't think he's a top 5 Oiler of all time. You are. I don't think Connor McDavid is. Okay?
Whoa!
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Whoa!
Yep.
That is a spoiler. Go ahead. You're not going to put him in this top 5. Number 5.
Yari Curry.
Number 4.
Amazing hockey player. But one of the best two-way hockey players I've ever played with. Could have won the Selke Trophy for the best defensive forward, scoring 70 goals a year, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4.
Grant Fuhr.
Well, you can't win championships without great goaltending. He's got to be on the list.
Number 3.
Paul Coffey.
All his teammates.
Well, highest scoring defenseman ever. You talk about the tandem with Gretzky and
I got him.
And Coffey together. Great defenseman.
Number 2.
Mark Messier.
Oh, that bum. I'm not sure about that. I think we can replace him.
Number 1.
The great one.
Oh, wow. No Connor McDavid. No Connor McDavid in the top 5.
Go ahead, knock off one of your teammates, Mark. I dare you.
I thought Warren Moon for sure was going to be.
What about Kevin Lowe and Glenn? What about Kevin Lowe and Glenn Anderson?
Oh, Glenny Anderson. Glenny Anderson was an all-time great. You can put Moog on the list too.
All-time great. Oh, but the unfortunate part about Edmonton, there's quite a few great hockey players, Hall of Fame hockey players that could be on the list too. But I'll certainly move out of the way for Connor there as soon as he wins the Stanley Cup. He's going to smash a lot of records in Edmonton. And
so you agree he has to? Thank you.
Boom! We got him, Greg.
I'm not denying that from the get-go, and he won't deny that as well. I think he's well aware of what's at stake in his career. So, but that doesn't mean he's underrated. So I'm with you. Or overrated.
He's definitely not underrated. We can agree.
Mick properly rated.
Hey, maybe he is underrated.
Maybe he is.
Let's play a little game.
Maybe he is underrated.
Let's play a little game of penalty shot for your life. Okay, you have to choose one guy to take a penalty shot. If he converts it, you're living. If he's not, unfortunately, you die.
We understand the game.
I'm making sure Mark understands the game.
It's for your life. Yes.
Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid.
Patrick Kane.
Why? He went off the board. Do that.
A shocking answer from the Messiah. Thank you, Mark. Good talking to you.
DJ Oshie.
Pre-game coverage begins 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, ESPN2 with The Point. It features Steve Levy, PK Subban, and Mark Messier. See you later, Mark. Thank you for being on with us.
Thanks for having me on, you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Mark.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan. It is hot. It is damp. It is summer. And it's the perfect time for grilling outside over an open flame or charcoal grill or propane. I'm not really sure. I'm not really all that manly. I think you guys can tell. But once a year, I'll bring out that brush and I'll scrub down the grill and I'll make myself a nice meaty feast. And you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm doing so with a Miller Lite in my hand, because Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality. Tastes as great as your barbecue. It's a beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. The light beer with the most taste, less filling, and only 96 calories. The perfect companion for grill masters all across America, or people like me who grill maybe once a summer, but take a sip of that Miller Lite and realize that no matter what, it's going to be a good day. With a Miller Lite in your hand, grilling doesn't just taste great. It tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure you're road trip ready. If you need brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.